Mercy, luxurious, Heat Nation, yeah, Mercy and Lago, down to Biscayne, yeah, 5 on the floor, ride for my dogs, where here's the thing, you can check the score, hustle hard, couple scars, wearing bubble frogs, down to Biscayne. Kept the flow playing, got it all banned. Y'all seen the block, stop with one hand. And Pat we trust, it's power have the guts. We're here to bring the heat, y'all can hang it up.
Welcome to 5 on the Floor, a daily insider show on the Miami Heat and the NBA, featuring Ethan Skolnick, Greg Sylvander, Alex Toledo, Brady Hawk, and others from the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Also make sure to subscribe to Off the Floor for the most heat anywhere.
Welcome to the post-game edition, this playoff edition of 5 on the Floor. I'm your host, Greg Sylvander. I reluctantly come to you directly following the Miami Heat's, is this 37? 124-87 loss on their home floor to the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Heat are just outclassed in this series at this point. I'm your host, Greg Sylvander. Today's floor plan with me, Major Passons and Digital Adele. We are going to unpack this game quickly. We'll get to our segments. We're going to do all of the fun stuff that you are accustomed to with postgame. But we honestly are not going to spend a ton of time with you because we recognize it's a Saturday afternoon and people probably don't want to talk about this game for very long. My initial thoughts and Major, I'll come to you after I kind of unpack just my after 3 games. Where I'm at is that I've turned on the play-in. I don't like that the process now there where you can go on a 2-game winning streak on the road like the Heat did, play their way in, and then get reminded how far away you are as they have in this series. They are the 37-win team we saw in the regular season. There's a lot of different reasons why, which we'll talk about when we use our segments to talk about who's at fault and who's not. But Major, your initial thoughts after 3 games, the latest being just a thumping on their home floor, 124-87. Your thoughts?
They're just not good enough. Like, this is exactly what everyone should have reasonably expected. And I know I'm the sunshine pumper and the delusional one, but like, this is also what kind of I expected. First 2 games were closer. Like this one, I didn't expect it to be 40. Like, I'm not surprised it's 3-0. I am a little bit surprised that, they lost by that much, especially considering how the first 2 games went. It's just bad. There's so many we can talk about, but I don't want to waste too much time and spoil future segments. So they're just bad. They're a bad team. I have not turned on the play-in. I still think the play-in's fun. I still think it's beneficial that they made the playoffs. I don't like the 2 unprotected picks because I don't think this team is that great. And if you think this team is terrible, it's much better to give up a late lottery potential, win the 1% chance to get a good player than to give up an unprotected next year where this is the whole season. Like, to me, that's almost a guaranteed higher pick than what you would have gotten if you just missed the playoffs this year. But the plan's fun. This team's not good at all, not contending for championships. Terrible matchup that makes it even more evident too.
See, and I thought it could be a favorable matchup. Like, I preferred Cleveland to Boston, and maybe I'm crazy for that now in retrospect because of how balanced Cleveland is, how connected they are. You can see that they're a team, like, walking away from playing them these first 3 games, I think they got a real shot in the East. And I don't know that I thought that prior to watching them up close in these games. So balanced. Their role players know exactly where to be at the right times. Maybe it's just they're up against the Heat, Adele, and that's where I should adjust my expectations. But your thought about the way that the Heat has handled this team, particularly today, because aside from being up, 12-4 or 12-5 early in the first quarter, the Heat were basically down by 20. It felt like in upwards of 40 in this game throughout. Like, are they as far away as that score indicated? Where do you land after watching this team so far?
They are as far away as the score indicated, and I'll explain why. We've talked about it several times on this postgame show throughout the season. There are no good answers when this team faces good teams. If you want to go with a scoring lineup, they don't have enough defense. If they want to go with a defensive lineup, they don't have enough scoring. It's one of those things where it's just not enough no matter what you do. And then in this series in particular, when we talk about that run that Cleveland went on after Miami had that little lead, they attacked Kelo Ware every single time down the floor. And it's not like it's because he's just young. It's because he's not strong enough yet, which is young, but also his defensive IQ, his ability to see man and ball at the same time and track that whenever they're running actions at him. He just doesn't keep up. And then Allen, who's not the quickest center in the world, would just beat him to the cup every time because he's not processing it fast enough. And then Tyler Hero, I wanted to talk about Tyler for a minute. We've had this discussion in our 5 Reasons Discord. Shout out to Off the Floor Discord. Garland called him out, right? But to respond publicly, you need to be able to back it up if you're going to respond publicly back. And he didn't. He had an atrocious game on both ends of the floor. And you cannot have that guy to be your max player if you want to win a championship. You cannot do that under this current CBA. A guy who cannot play both ends of the floor. In fact, he doesn't just not play both ends of the floor. He gets picked on and hunted time after time after time. Not by just Donovan Mitchell, not by just Darius Garland, but Ty Jerome, Sam Merrill, Max Strus.
It's time to definitely – I think that they're going to be pretty – how can I say this? They're going to have a standard to which they want to pay the very top players. And I'm only going to spend a minute here because we're going to stay focused on the game. But I do think like what you saw with Jimmy and them like kind of saying we're not going to pay in upwards of whatever his contract would be for certain reasons. I think Tyler will apply with some of what we've seen. Today was a real stinker. Actually, before I continue to babble about Tyler Hero, let's go to the Insurance by Lynette player of the game.
And now it's time for the A-Aggressive Insurance Player of the Night, sponsored by our friend Lynette. You can find her at insurancebylynette.com. That's with 2 N's and 2 T's, insurancebylynette.com. If you need car insurance, renter's insurance, homeowner's insurance, or any other type of insurance, she's the person to go to. Based in Lauderhill, she services the entire Tri-County area here in South Florida, and she will make sure to get you the best deal. She'll probably talk to you about the heat while you're at it. Reach out to her, insurancebylynette.com. And now, the player of the game.
So, I mean, to call a player, are we going to really be are we going to have that lack of self-awareness and pick a player on the Miami Heat for best player of the game? I'm not going to. Nobody was good enough. But when you look at Cleveland, where I'm going to go with this, and it's going to pivot back to kind of where Adele was leading and talked a bit about. Max Strus, 18 points, 7 of 13, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, no turnovers. And he was giving Tyler difficulties. On the flip side to that, Tyler was 5 of 13 from the field, only 13 points. Got to the line twice, took 3 threes, only made 1, had 3 turnovers and 3 assists. So basically his playmaking was completely, like his turnovers canceled out any plays that he made. Didn't rebound above his size in his position like he tends to do. So it's just an off game from Tyler. And I just think, to Adele's point earlier, not only is it about that the other guys are that there's the chatter and you want Tyler to respond in that spot. Darius Garland didn't play in this game. I just thought that they needed a big one from Tyler. This is a series where Bam and Tyler Hero have to be awesome, and neither have been great enough for different reasons, actually. But Max Strus, y'all, is do either of you regret the Heat not retaining Max Strus? Do you think that they should have, because I saw some sentiment during the game on playback of they should have got rid of Duncan and kept Max Strus as he comes back to Miami, has maybe not the best statistical performance across the board, but I thought he was really a high impact player in this game. So I'm highlighting him to kind of highlight Tyler because of how bad Tyler was. But your thoughts overall on just the top players in this game, Major?
I want to shout out DeAndre Hunter. This dude has been unbelievable since joining the Cavs. He's been hitting threes with hands in his face. He's been hitting open ones, but his defense is always something I've appreciated. And I like the physicality he plays with. And this Heat team, we talked about it all year. I mean, it's really Tyler Hero has been the most consistent offensive player. No one else has hit that consistency. You can take out like Duncan, good shooter, can do a little bit of the other stuff, hasn't done that as much as I would like, but still he's easier to defend than Wiggins. And I don't want to spend too much time on it. Wiggins has been flat out awful this series. He, in my opinion, is the biggest problem with this Heat team right now, because expected of what you were supposed to get and what you were relying on, and honestly what Wiggins has been his whole career. Like, Wiggins has been inefficient sometimes and other things, but he hasn't been like, hey, I can't get a stop at times and I can't make a basket, like wide open or not. He's just been, this is the worst version of Wiggins I've seen. And that's really hurting. They don't even have to worry about defending Wiggins, because if you just stop Hero, there's literally no one else. Like Bam, at times he will go on his run, but I mean, we put up a comment, Greg Anthony, talking about how the offense is stagnant. No one's moving. You're not playing to Bam's strengths. So even when he does get his numbers, it's not a winning numbers. And I'm not blaming Bam for that at all. Like Bam, I don't think a lot of people really know what he does in basketball, to be honest. But the way they're having him play one-on-one, they're not moving to utilize his passing. They're not utilizing his screening as much, in my opinion. They're not playing through him, which then makes Hero's jobs harder, because that's another thing you could help Hero get open with. It's literally Tyler Hero, go one-on-one, try to find your shot. Davion Mitchell recently has done better at that, but no one consistently in and game out that the defense really has to worry about, that we're going to beat you. So they know, just stop Tyler Hero. If Wiggins was just Wiggins, it would be much better. But not saying they would win, but I'm saying they might have a chance to win a game or two, right? So I think if I was to pinpoint one biggest problem in this series, it would probably be Wiggins if I had to choose a player, and I'm not the type of person to choose a player like that. But I mean, if they have decent Wiggins, they might win game 1 or 2, long shot winning both. Like, they were in those games, right? And with almost everyone still not playing good and still not being able to get a stop. So I could keep rambling on about this, but I think I've made my point. Players got to play better at a certain point. You are making big money. You are brought there to play defense and be that secondary scorer. You're not doing any if your name's Andrew Wiggins. So that's got to get better.
14 in game 1, 10 in game 2, 10 in game 3. Andrew Wiggins has played below expectations. Adele, do you agree that Wiggins has been, from a player perspective, the most disappointing part of the playoff run so far? The first 3 games, all resulting in losses. The Heat basically they are on the brink of elimination heading into game 4. Are you aligned that it's Wiggins, or who sticks out like a sore thumb the most from your perspective on the Miami Heat so far as we're through 3 games?
I mean, out of those 3 players, out of Tyler, out of Bam, out of Wiggins, it's definitely Wiggins. But I want to pivot, though. I don't want to dodge your question, because clearly Wiggins isn't that type of player, but also he functions better with a true facilitating guard next to him. And when he doesn't have a facilitating guard, he operates best out of the mid post, and that's where Bam operates, and Ware's in the low post. So, like, it's just not a good scheme fit if you don't have a facilitating point guard. But what I really want to stress when we talk about the best players in this series, for this game, it was the two bigs. It was Mobley and it was Allen. The Heat didn't take care of the paint. They gave up 60 paint points. Allen shot 88.9% from the field. You can't win like that.
Did you say 60?
60.
That's insane. I mean, that kind of, we probably could end the show right here and basically everyone would get the gist of this. Before I do that, though, let's actually go to the next segment. We're going to do the Mobile C-Arm and Staffing X-Ray Play of the Day.
And now it's time for the X-Ray of the Play of the Day, brought to us by our friends over at Mobile C-Arm and Staffing Services. Nelson and his team will bring the X-ray equipment and the staffing to you. If you work in a hospital or a medical office, get a consultation today at c-armandstaffing.com or give them a call at 561-891-9620. Their fleet of trucks at your service. Again, it's Mobile C-Arm and Staffing Services, 561-891-9620. And now, the X-ray of the Play of the Day.
So I'm sure everybody has something that they'll think through in terms of a play that exemplifies how bad this game was. There were tons of them. It felt like Miami couldn't get to the basket no matter what they tried to do. And that's such a frustrating way to watch them offensively. There was one possession where Davion Mitchell hit a three in the corner and the Cavs took the ball out of bounds, threw it ahead and advanced the ball to Ty Jerome, who went 1-on-5 and I think hit some sort of floater in the lane. And I felt like that really summed up what it's been like against this Cavalier team. Like, they've had guys that have been unstoppable for us. And they've just, even in moments when the Heat look good offensively, Davion Mitchell had another, relatively solid game overall. Didn't have a turnover, 7 of 11, 16 points, 5 assists. So Davion Mitchell is doing his job. He hits a three, but then Ty Jerome does what he does on the other end. He was a guy that also today was impactful in that he had the 13 points off the bench. DeAndre Hunter, you mentioned him earlier, Major. I'm glad you did, because the thing that I noticed is that anytime they put him in the post, the Heat were forced to foul. Like, they could not stop him. And so that is another thing that jumps out. It just, they talk about a thing in the Cleveland, media landscape, or maybe in the arena, they say Cavalanche. It really has been like that against the Heat. It's corny to say out loud, but the Heat have felt that the runs that the Cavs go on, the Heat have not been able to withstand those, and they just get down by so much. Today was a really, it's got to be one of the most lopsided Heat home playoff losses. I'll see where that ranks. Someone will probably tweet it. So that's the plays. Any of y'all want to jump in on the play of the day before we do defending the house? Mute.
I wanted to piggyback off of you saying they got to the free throw line, because that's a big thing for me whenever you're talking about a number one offensive player in the playoffs. They're able to stop runs by getting to the free throw line. And the Miami Heat only shot 10 free throws all night. 2 of those were in garbage time. So during the actual meat of the action, from the second quarter all the way to the end of the fourth almost, they had 8 free throws that entire time. Nobody was getting to the free throw line. So if you're talking about Bam, you're talking about Tyler or Wiggins, if those guys can't stop runs by getting to the free throw line, you're not going to be able to stay in games and hang with these top-tiered teams.
Major, any plays that jump out at you?
Yeah, I mean, the play that jumped out to me a lot with just flashing red lights of what the problem is not necessarily these two players, because they didn't play a ton. There's some of the problems with them. Is at the end of the game, Ware got a rebound, tossed it ahead to Nico, and he just kind of stopped running and didn't reach for the ball. And it was a turnover, and I was already boiling over in frustration. So that's probably why it stuck out so much. But it was that is the plays that annoys me, that get in that extra effort. I know you're down. You're not going to win that game. But it's part of the reason why you're down that much is because rebounding. I mean, so many times you're in position, you're just not boxing out. You're watching people grab rebounds. Loose balls. I mean, Pele dove on the floor down 30, and he was the only one that seemed to care about that. we're not getting that extra effort that you see a lot of times from undermanned Heat teams. That they find a way to make it less. That we were even sometimes seeing in game 1 and 2. This game, we've talked about it for several years. They got avalanched on, and they never recovered and let that slip into the thing that's supposed to be their calling card, and it never even happened. And I don't care if you lose. At a certain point, it's sports. You're going to lose. I don't care if you lose. I don't care if you have a bad game. If you're not going to go out there and give max effort no matter the score, we're going to have a conversation.
I think all of that is super valid. Rebounding edge 46-29 in this game in Cleveland's favor. Turnovers, Miami had 16. Cleveland kept it under 10, just at 9 turnovers on the road. I think that's probably like the prudent approach for a veteran team to go out onto the road in a game 3, up 0-2, and not play sloppy to the point that you're in single digits for turnovers. That's huge. Let's go to defending the house before we close up shop here.
And now it's time for our Defending the House segment, sponsored by our friends over at The Real Estate Shop. You can find them at realestateshopfl.com. That's with 2 P's and an E, realestateshopfl.com, or at the Fort Lauderdale Realtor on Instagram. This is Javier Iglesias and Amanda Martin. They help buyers and sellers in real estate. They're nimble and protective of their clients. They service the entire Tri-County area. That's Miami-Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach counties with a proven on-market strategy. The Real Estate Shop sellers earn the most money in the shortest time frame because Amanda and Javier have a deep understanding of the local market. So check them out. Again, it's at the Fort Lauderdale Realtor on Instagram, realestateshopfl.com, or give them a call at 954-268-9812. And now, who defended the house?
Who defended the house? The Miami Heat did not defend the house. We're not even going to talk about that. This is what I want to ask both of you. The single biggest thing that could help the Heat, if you had to predict a way for Miami to defend their house, win game 4, and extend this series, they got to get one at home. They can't get swept on their home floor. Can we not end what has been otherwise a tumultuous, not very fun season, if I'm just going to be honest about it? Even the playoffs, like the polarizing nature of the lottery pick versus being in the playoffs, has put a damper on the way that they've actually played. Adele, I'll go to you first. What's the biggest thing, if you had to predict a way for the Heat to figure this out? Is it just the Cleveland has an off night and Miami shoots out way above their head and they get a victory? Is there anything that we could dig into beyond that you think is possible?
No, I'm going to go completely anti-X's and O's and say that the Cleveland Cavaliers would have to want to win on their home court instead of win on Miami's home court as the only way and only chance this team has to win this series. Because I've told you time and time again, no matter what adjustment Spo makes, it's not going to be good enough. They don't have enough point of attack defense. Ware's not ready. He's out of his element defensively in terms of defensive IQ. It's moving too fast for him. So the only way that they win a game is if Cleveland decides they want to end it on their home court. That's literally the only way.
I mean, that's pretty hopeless. Basically, you're saying that the Cavs would be executing the gentleman's sweep where they let one go there at the end so that they can go back home and conveniently finish them off on their home floor in front of their home fans. This message from Mac Mon comes in on YouTube. We are live for the post-game audience that's listening to us audio only. Donovan Mitchell scored 13 points today. Is he a bucket? He is a bucket, but this is more than that. This team is just a more balanced, well-built, connected Cleveland team. You can tell the difference between a contender and a non-contender when you watch this. But Major, if you had to predict something that could go right for the Heat so that they extend the series and the season on Monday, what you got?
I mean, play more of an effort like game 1 or game 2. You got to have Hero play like he played in the first half of game 1 and then all of game 2. You got to have someone like Wiggins, Davion, keep playing how you're playing. Someone like Wiggins, Duncan, someone else to go out there and have another big offensive night. But I do have a defending the house, so we can check this off. Darius Garland defended the house really well because he called out Tyler Hero, and boy has been getting fried also. And to not get fried, he sat out today. So that is really defending his agenda right there. So I got to respect it. He did not want all the attention on him, so he ducked. And their defense got better. We need Darius Garland to come back for Game 4. That's what we need.
I mean, he would be a player that the Heat could potentially pick on. This last comment comes in from R. Ramirez. He says, sit where and start Jovic. I guess when you're on the ropes, you're down 0-3, Adele, you have to put everything on the table in terms of what you could potentially do in this game, how Spoelstra could make adjustments. Do you forecast them making a lineup change in any way just to see a different look? Is there anything from the rotation that you think could change? Because obviously they're going to throw everything at the wall to see what sticks to try to get a victory. What are your thoughts on any adjustments they can make, particularly with the lineup, but just in general as well? How can they defend the house and stay alive beyond Game 4?
It's very difficult to find a solution whenever you can't guard on the perimeter. So like Jovic, he was very bad today. He didn't play well either. So it's not like Jovic played outstanding and Spo just sat him. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'd play Pelle Larsson more because he's going to give you more of a point of attack defense. Haywood Highsmith is cooked, man. For a guy that's made a career of being a lockdown defender, he hasn't defended anybody. Yeah. So I'd play Pelle Larsson more. I'd give Larsson his minutes. I'd try Kashad Johnson. I really would. And it's not because I'm like, oh, I want to see the young guy. He's athletic. He'll get out on the break. He'll play really hard. He'll rebound for you. Just see what kind of fight that guy can give you. Because if you're going to size down like Spoelstra did today because Ware was so bad, why not try Kashad? That's really all I got. I have no more bullets in the holster.
No, I'm with you. Another comment comes in here that they have one more playoff game treated as development. Ware and Nico 40 minutes. You know what? I'm kind of on board with that. Like, let's play the young guys, see what happens. What else do you have to lose? It has been a sobering 3 games, particularly Game 3. Shout out to our sponsors. Everybody check out Off the Floor. That's our Discord server. It's $2.99 a month. You'll get the most heat anywhere. So I highly recommend you check that out. You can get through this and grieve with us as the Heat approach elimination and then look ahead to the draft. Although Adele and the rest of us will have you covered for the draft as well. And we're going to do deep diving on the draft that I don't think our network has ever gone to the level that we're about to for this draft. So that's something to look forward to on an otherwise crappy day to be a Miami Heat fan. They lose at home to the Cleveland Cavaliers. They're down 0-3. We'll see what happens next. Thank you to our sponsors, Major Digital Odell. I am your host, Greg Sylvander. Peace out.